Hello and welcome back to Reason News. Just hours ago, the political stability of Europe's second largest economy was shattered. The French government, led by Prime Minister François Bayrou, collapsed after a parliamentary vote of no confidence. This is a monumental moment not just for France but for the entire European Union. It marks the end of a tumultuous 9-month term for Bayrou and plunges President Emmanuel Macron into his deepest political crisis yet. The vote wasn't just about a prime minister, it was a verdict on a deeply unpopular budget proposal and a reflection of a deeply fragmented parliament. We're going to break down how this happened, what it means for France, and why it's a warning sign for the rest of Europe. The collapse was swift and decisive. In a vote of 364 to 194, French MPs voted to oust the government. This was not a surprise, it was the climax of a long, simmering political crisis. At the heart of it all was Prime Minister Bayrou's proposed budget for 2026. Facing a soaring national debt which has climbed to nearly 114% of GDP, well above the EU's 60% limit, Bayrou put forward a plan that called for 44 billion euros in savings. These austerity measures were a tough sell, especially in a country with a strong tradition of social welfare. Opposition parties, from the far-right National Rally to the hard-left France Unbowed, seized on the opportunity. They saw a chance to take down a government they viewed as out of touch and pushing through policies that would hurt ordinary citizens. It's a classic case of political maneuvering, but with very real consequences for the French people. And it was all happening against the backdrop of a deeply divided parliament. Here's a video from BBC News.
Alex, we are going to take the results live. Let's take a listen.
194 against 354. The National Assembly has not approved. 194 for, 264 against. The Prime Minister must now tender his resignation to the President.
There we have it. You are with BBC News live from Paris outside the French Parliament as France's Prime Minister has fallen in a vote of confidence. He has lost the confidence of the Parliament building behind me, with 194 MPs voting in favour of François Bayrou and 364 MPs voting against. So François Bayrou's government falls. He becomes the second Prime Minister ousted by Parliament in the space of 9 months, and the sixth Prime Minister lost to President Macron. He will now have to tender his resignation to France's President Emmanuel Macron. He is expected to do that tomorrow, and then this country faces yet more political paralysis. Can the President find a new Prime Minister to command the confidence of the Parliament building behind me? Does he dissolve Parliament, leading to snap elections? Or what other path is open to him? This country, the second largest power in the European Union, plunged back into political paralysis at the worst possible time, with wars raging on Europe's borders, with the Trump administration in the White House upending the transatlantic international order, and France now looking increasingly rudderless. So just a reminder, 194 MPs have voted against François Bayrou's government inside Parliament. 364 MPs have voted against it. So François Bayrou's government falls, ousted by a confidence vote. Let me bring in Alexandre Kouchner, a journalist and political analyst here in Paris, who has been with us unpacking this story. Alexandre, this was expected, wasn't it? But it is a very, very big defeat for François Bayrou.
Yeah, the defeat was expected. The numbers are surprising. It means that even from within the central coalition, probably from the Conservatives, Les Républicains, some MPs voted against François Bayrou. This means that within the presidential coalition, the so-called bloc commun, there are already clear cracks and clear divides, which sort of muddies the water even more. You know, who can you now trust? Because even from within this own coalition, he didn't have all the votes. Now, is this a surprise? No. Does it bring any solution? No. Now it's on to Emmanuel Macron to make a decision, name a prime minister, or call for snap elections. Then again, it doesn't solve the two main problems at this time. The one is the problem of Emmanuel Macron's doing, a hung parliament. The second is trying to put not an end, but maybe just a dent in the ever-ongoing debt crisis in France.
President Macron's political gamble backfired spectacularly. You'll remember his decision in 2024 to call a snap parliamentary election. He was hoping to secure a majority and a stronger mandate. The result was exact opposite. Voters turned to the extremes, leaving Macron with a deeply fragmented parliament where no single party holds a majority. This has made governing nearly impossible. Prime Minister Bayrou's minority government was the fourth in less than 2 years under Macron's second term, a clear sign of the legislative deadlock that has paralyzed France. The collapse of the government is a symptom of a deeper malaise. It's a direct result of France's political polarization and the public's deep distrust of its leaders. Financial markets are already showing signs of worry. The cost of French government debt is rising and analysts are sounding the alarm. This isn't just a French problem, it's a European problem. A politically unstable and indebted France poses a significant risk to the entire Eurozone. So what happens next? President Macron is now faced with a series of very difficult choices. He has to appoint a new prime minister, his fifth since 2022. But who can he choose? There's no consensus candidate who can command to a majority in this dividend parliament. The new prime minister will have to tackle the same unpopular budgets and the same debt crisis that brought down their predecessor. Macron could also choose to call another snap election, a move he has so far resisted, but one that many of the opposition parties are now demanding. The possibility of another election is fraught with risk. Polls suggest that if an election were held today, Macron's party would lose even more ground, and the far-right national rally could make significant gains. This could lead to a cohabitation government where a prime minister from the opposition is forced on Macron. It would be a situation of permanent political gridlock, and it would effectively hobble the rest of Macron's term, which ends in 2027. The collapse of the French government is more than just a political story. It's a stark illustration of the challenges facing established democracies in the 21st century. It's about a leadership struggling to find a middle ground in a deeply polarized society. It's about a clash between fiscal responsibility and public demand for social welfare. And it's about a nation on the brink of a new kind of political crisis. The world will be watching to see how President Macron navigates this unprecedented challenge. The future of France and, by extension, the stability of Europe hangs in the balance. Until next time, stay updated, informed, and curious.